Hey, comic book fans, we're back with another episode of CBFU from the shop. This is the week of July 16th, and we have some great books to talk about this week. Seriously, it's a heavy week, and a lot of great books launched this week. Let's start it off with one that I've personally been waiting for a long time to come out. This is the original Sentai of Uncanny X-Men number 23, The Last Will and Testament of Charles Xavier. Originally going into this, I thought that this was going to just be like a one-off, like original Sentai, and that they were just going to jump into it. We get to see the last will and testament of Charles Xavier, but it's actually an ongoing story that they're going to be developing in the pages of Uncanny. What did you think of the first?
I liked it. The first thing you have to know going in is it has nothing to do with Original Sin. There's not one thing. The only thing about Original Sin this comic has is the little Original Sin logo on the cover.
Nobody was around during the eye bomb going off.
Yeah, there's no anything to do with the Watcher's murder, nothing. It has nothing to do with that. But as a book itself, besides that, it's a really good book. A lot of character stuff. You don't get into it as much as I would have liked. I would have liked a little more of what was in the will.
We just get a little tease of the will.
You don't really get what's in the will. It's sort of just like, okay, here's the will, we're going to open it, and the book's done.
And we need Cyclops to read this. That's basically what we learned.
Yeah.
But there were some strong developments on the whole the Dazzler story. Mm-hmm. And again, this is one of those times where I feel like they kind of keep messing up the momentum of their books by showing us too much too early. Because as you all know, they revealed Dazzler's new look, and this book is kind of like progressing her towards getting there. To her, like,
it shows the build from like where she was kidnapped by Mystique and she was tortured, and this shows the journey from that to what the new look is.
But overall, I'd say it was a strong read. I'd give it about 6 out of 10 Lugos. So yeah, definitely pick that up if you're an Uncanny X-Men fan, or if you're just looking for more original Sentai.
Well, the next book is unfortunately not as good as any of the other books we read this week, but I have to get to it. I don't want to save it. I don't want to save it for last.
It is a new number one. We have to give it some sort of.
This is Teen Titans number 1 by Will Pfeiffer and Kenneth Rocafort, and like Suicide Squad last week, it's just really not very good. It has some good character moments. I'll give it that.
Like
it does have some.
Bunker particularly, he stands out for being more likable to when he was under Lobdell's pen. As being a more likable Teen Titan member.
And there are moments where like little things happen, and it's like, okay, that's a cool moment. But overall, the book is it's a mess.
So much exposition and just like explaining what's happening. Like we have the good guys explaining what the bad guys are doing, while the bad guys are explaining what the good guys are doing, and a couple of scientists talking about.
And none of it's interesting.
No,
none of it's interesting.
Just jumbled, and it's easy to get bored with it. Like somebody would say a word while I was reading it off in the distance, and I would be feeling out what their conversation was rather than what's actually happening in the book.
It's more interesting whatever is happening in the book. Yeah. And whether it's the book's fault or my own thing, it's not the Teen Titans.
It's just not the Titans. They have no mission statement. This book is like, it's the first issue, and it does no job of building a mission statement for the Teen Titans team. Like we still don't know why this group of youngsters is together and why they exist.
And they're not a family. Like in the Jeff Johns Titans and the Marv Wolfman Titans, they were a family. They were connected.
It's
These
like,
are just
like work. You got all the Titans calling Red Robin boss, or like, hey Chief, or like, since when did he become Perry White?
Yeah, so no, I can't really recommend Teen Titans number 1. I give it 1 Lugo.
Nope.
0
I'm not putting a Lugo on the screen.
Sam couldn't even get through it. I think we got our first 0 Lugo for CBFU from the shop.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Unless you're in it for Rocafort's art.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you're a fan of the New 52 Teen Titans. I'm not.
I would love to meet you. We got, honestly, what I think is the best book that we've read so far this week, and it is Robin Rises Omega. Tomasi has just been doing so much work with Batman and series, and just like building out of the death of Damian Wayne, and moving Batman to a point where he can kind of get over it. And now in this book, we're given Batman's given a sliver of hope for Damian, being resurrected. But this book, what makes it so good is how much it's rooted in the old 52 continuity. It's just like you get to see everything that happened from what was the run with Morrison.
When Grant Morrison, even before that, the Denny O'Neil, when they first introduced like Talia,
exactly,
and it just goes. The first like first 10 pages of the book is
just
all just a recap of things that have happened before. But to the credit of Tomasi, it is not a dull recap.
Not at all.
It's a good read. It's well narrated and everything.
It made me want to go back and read all of those books again. And this book, it feels like one gigantic battle. because it's essentially a battle, because we're not going to tell you who or spoil it, but there's this forces that come along and they want Damien's body for whatever reason, and it's Batman, Ra's al Ghul, Frankenstein's monster. Batman and Frankenstein, that needs to be a book, like right now. But it's them teaming up to fight these forces, and it's just, as this is happening, you see just the want from Batman to get his son back, and then it ties into also Batman and Superman from the New 52 and that first story arc, and it's just a lot of just using the Batman mythos in one book. This is like one of the best single issues I've read in a while.
And it's also, it's like, it has to be at least a double-sized issue.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a meaty book.
Yeah, no. And also the art by Andy Cooper is just really good.
I think this is the most I've enjoyed his pencils since the origin of Wolverine. Even the paper feels like it, where it has like that kind of that old kind of tint to it.
And for people who gave up during the Grant Morrison run, this book in the first 10 pages recaps Grant Morrison's entire run far better than Grant Morrison ever told it in his own book.
Even it was like, don't read Batman R.I.P. Just go in and pick up Robin Rises.
Yeah.
So I got to give this 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
This was seriously, like, as a #1 issue, this was just perfect. So definitely pick up Robin Rises this week.
Original Sin #6, again, by Jason Aaron and Mike Diodato Jr. And I don't think it's as strong. I really enjoyed the flashback issue, last issue.
I thought that was great.
Because it had a whole mythology to the Nick Fury and everything.
And then everything we were supposed to be learning about Original Sin, this was the premise in that issue, was that we get to go back and see all of the questionable things the heroes of the Marvel Universe have been doing, particularly with Nick Fury.
Yeah. This one I don't think is as strong as the last issue.
I gotta agree,
But I still enjoy it. I still think it's been one of the more solid events from beginning to end so far. And it's just good. All the characters are there. The Avengers, who took like the last 2 issues, pretty much weren't there, are back in this one in full force. Captain America, they found out that Nick Fury is the robot, and they're coming to get him, and it's really good.
I mean, the one thing I gotta say about Marvel is they keep shooting themselves in the foot with their reveals, because had they not told us about the new ongoing Winter Soldier story, this book would have had a little bit more impact. You know?
Because I mean, they're saying like, okay, who's going to replace me? And you sort of know because they showed it.
Just wait a little bit longer. Could have just waited to Comic-Con and then we would have.
If they had waited like a week later and this came then.
We would have had a week of just guessing who's going to replace Nick Fury.
But that's a weakness of a lot of the different like comic companies, because they reveal stuff 3 months ahead and.
And, you know, there's a lot of people,
some surprises.
There's a lot of people that say that Original Sin is kind of like moving at a snail's pace and there's not a lot happening. I personally didn't get that from the first 5 issues, but this is the first issue where I felt like things were kind of at a standstill, and like because you keep having people ask the question, what happened to the Watcher? What happened to the Watcher? And we still don't know.
And no one answers.
Yeah, no one answers.
And Nick Fury almost always finds a way to say, "I'll tell you, I have to do this first."
It was like, you know, I was waiting for at one point for like a gigantic horn to honk while he was saying the explanation. But again, it's Original Sin #6. Jason Aaron is writing a hell of a book, and Diodato's art is fantastic.
It's still as good as always. I give it 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 was a strong book.
Yep.
Alright guys, that's another episode from CBFU from the shop here in Manifest Comics. As always, you know, there's this week in particular is a huge week. Go out and buy some comics, guys.
Next week we won't be doing CBFU from the shop. There will be a written edition, but next week we will be reporting live from SDCC outside the halls of San Diego Comic-Con. We won't be inside the halls of San Diego Comic-Con, but we will be reporting everything we know from outside. So check that out, and then we'll see you the week after.
See you later, guys.